Hey everybody, it's Bex here, and I've got a little map making video. Hopefully this will be shorter than most of my other ones. I think it's going to be pretty quick because mostly I'm going to be doing a description of what I did, not actually doing it live. So right now you can see I've got Dungeondraft up, and there's something going on in the background behind Dungeondraft. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that from my recording so you can see, and then I'm going to zoom in in Fantasy Grounds here, and you can see what I've done uh, with this map. Now, as you can see, it is a active map. It is moving, um, and just to show you, I'm in Fantasy Grounds. I can bring up the combat tracker. I can drag a character token onto the map, and uh, as you can see, that character token is right there. He can move around. This is Unity, obviously. You can't do this with Fantasy Grounds Classic, um, but the subject of this video is to show you what you can do in Fantasy Grounds Unity with a map to make it active. So first of all, I'm going to show you how I did this step by step. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and bring Dungeondraft back, and we're going to go ahead and load up one of the maps I made, which is I believe it's ship attack map. And I mostly used 2-minute tabletop resources for this, but you can use almost anything. And really what you want is, for this map alone, all you really want is some sort of water background. And hopefully it has some water, some shapes in the water. Now, the reason I say that is because if you do go over here and use the water brush, um, like, let me see if I can zoom out. Oops, wrong way. And I'll just grab a section of water. And then I'm going to go to, I think it's, where is that? I always have to remember oh, it's right in the terrain. If I disable the terrain, that's what the water looks like. It's just a solid color. It doesn't really have anything in it. So it's way better to use, I just got rid of the water that I added. It's way better to use something that has something like this, at least for what we're doing with this active map. And there are different, if you have the 2-minute tabletop resources, there are different um, what am I trying to say? There's different like calmnesses and such of the um, there we go, fill. Like you can make more of a tropical one. You could do calm. You could do rough. I did storm, uh, which is what I was intending. I wanted it to look stormy. But this is a single map that is just the background. Like that's all we wanted. All we wanted was the ocean. And then I exported this, and because I used the Fantasy Grounds grid, I turned the grid off. There's no lighting, no overlay, and you can export it as a JPEG. Excuse me. Um, because I've been using Unity primarily, I am using a fairly high pixels per inch, doing 100 pixels per inch, which means the map ends up 5,000 by 5,000 because it's 50 by 50. Um, but we're going to go ahead and open the other map. So after you made that, I made a ship. Now you'll notice the first thing I did was turn the terrain off. It is off. And I made this ship. I added some waves in the water underneath the ship, and then I added a tiller. Again, I'm pretty sure almost all of this is, well, not all of it, but most of it is 2-minute tabletop resources that I've added. And The first thing I did was I put down the boat, and then I put down the masts. There's two masts there. So there's a mast there. Oops, which I just twirled. And then there's a mast there. And then I put down the sails. Now, you can't see the sails because after I did that, those three things, what I did was I went to the level settings and I named the level I was working on. It was originally named ground. I renamed it ship. And then I did create. And I cloned the ship and created a new level called sails. And if I switch to sails, what I did after I'd cloned the ship and the sails where they were placed correctly, I then went to the selection tool and I selected the ship and I deleted the ship. And I think I actually deleted, no, I didn't. I kept the mast is there. I think I deleted this mast for some reason. I don't know why I didn't delete that one. I should have. But then, and the reason I did that is because there's a nice option with Dungeondraft that when you export, you can actually export the layers on top of each other, but you can make the layer on top slightly see-through, transparent. So I came back after I'd done that to this layer, and I added more details. Like I added like the little, I don't even know what you call these, like trapdoors, I guess. And then there's a couple of like actual trapdoor looking things, and then I added the water and the tiller and stuff because I didn't want to have to delete that. And then once I'd done all that, then I went again to export. This time I want to export with a PNG because then I have all this, the background will end up as transparent. And then I selected the overlay level of sails, and then you can actually move this off to the side, and you can decide how much you want the sails to be see-through. I think I did 30 or 20 or something like that. And then again, the full map is like, I probably didn't need to do this, but I did it 5,000 by 5,000 because that's what I started with on the first one, and I wanted to make sure that the scale showed up correctly. And then I actually made a third ship, so we'll go ahead and open that one, but I used the exact same process. I did the ship, and then I put the masts and the sails on, and then I switched over, and then I made a new layer with a copy, and I did the sails. This one has like black sails, although when you're actually on the map, because of all the effects I've got going, you really can't tell that there's a big difference in sail color. But that's what I did, and then I came back and I deleted the sails from this layer, and I added some more stuff, and then I exported with the sails on top again, like this. And I think on this one, because I wanted the sails to show up a little bit darker, I think this one I exported like 50% opacity. But then once I had all of that done, and I was done in Dungeondraft, I went ahead and started importing everything into Fantasy Grounds. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here to Fantasy Grounds. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the toolbar over here on the side. And let me kind of move my screen capture a little bit so you can see more of what's going on the screen. There we go. And actually, I think I can move my camera, over here to this side. That way it's not in the way. Okay, so, and actually, you know what? I can make it a little bit bigger. We'll just do, that way we don't have any black space. Oh. Okay, so you might be focused over here on the sidebar, which is totally okay. That's what I want. Okay, I just made sure my cursor was on because I wasn't seeing it in the video. Okay, so this is the finished, version here. But what I started with was, and I can even remake this for you so you can see. Um, I went into my assets in Fantasy Grounds, and then I had my images window open, and this is the one we worked on already, Ship Attack. I'll go ahead and move to a different. We'll go to uncategorized. Okay, and then I already put the image here. It's in my data maps. This is for a campaign called Fortress of the Colossus, and it's all three of them in here. You can see there's the pirate ships, but we'll start with the ocean texture that I made. And then with that image open in a new image entry, I dragged this in and this in. And so now I've got my assets all done. I'm going to close this window and we'll go ahead and we'll open this one so that it's kind of like, so we can see both sidebars. So the first thing I did is I realized I don't want the ships on top of each other like that. So I went to the layers panel and I grabbed this top layer and I made sure it was the right one, which this layer is going to be a pirate ship. And I moved it over here and I decided I wanted it turned as well. So I'm trying to remember, can you use no, you can't use the mouse wheel like Dungeondraft, but you can, oops, nope, that's not what I want. I want this one. There you go. And I turned it like that. Now I'm going to double check over here. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had. And now I've lost the... This one's so big. Okay. Oh, I know what I'll do. Just give me 1 second here. Gonna resize a little bit. Like this. There we go. Now I can go back and forth between the two if I need to. So, I've got the ships there, and I've got them where I want them. Although, in the middle of combat, you can actually grab a ship by going to this layer here, and you can move it, and you can decide, oh, this ship's moving in closer, or whatever, and move it, and so you can make the map however you want it, because these ships are independent of one another. Maybe you decide that you want a little bit more room maneuvering, so you grab this layer and you move this ship over here. And then it makes it, then the pirate ship can move in on the player ship at a different rate. But we want to add some fun FX, right? So we've got 3 different FX that I did over here, but we'll do some slightly different ones over here. We won't make the exact same map. We'll make different conditions. So we're going to add an FX layer. And first we're going to select water. And then we're going to move that water layer down underneath the ship. So now there's no wave effects on top of the ships, which is what we want. I personally think it's wiggling out of control right now. So what I like to do, and I'll show you what I did on this one. Let me go to FX and then click on water, and then we can see the settings that I used. So we'll start with those settings and then we'll adjust from there. So there's 10, 25 on the intensity, but only 5 on the speed. And then we took the droplet down to the absolute minimum. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to up the droplet, and I'm going to up the speed a little bit, but then I'm going to take the intensity down just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to change the horizontal quite a bit. So the sea is undulating in an entirely different way now than this one. And if you're just watching the sea, in fact, I can go over here and make the clouds invisible and the rain invisible. And that way you can see just with different settings, like it's still a gentle sea for the most part. It's not like going crazy like it was earlier when the intensity was Like if I take the intensity way up, it's insane. It goes nuts. Doesn't look natural at all. Even that at 50, it's still like that's a superstorm. Like at 35, that's still pretty strong. But I think we're going to go back to the 15 that we had. I may even up the speed a little bit. Looks like faster waves. Okay, so that was the water. Let's turn the rain. There we go. The rain and the clouds back on over here, and we'll do. So we're not going to do rain on this one. Instead, we're going to do some mist. Oops, I done screwed up. Let me undo what I just did. So water, and luckily it remembers our settings. I forgot to add a new FX layer. Okay, so we're going to do some mist. And already the amount, I'm going to do 25. And then I'm going to do the speed, 65. Okay, now here's the crazy thing. What I want to do with this mist is I want to make it look like the ships are moving even more, which I didn't do in mine. Now, unfortunately, you cannot change the direction of the mist. It always goes from left to right, or from right to left. I mean, you can see it. And if I turn on the amount, you can see it a little bit better. It's always going from right to left. But we can make that work for us for this map. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the layers. We're going to select this ship layer, and I'm going to zoom out so I can grab this thing. And I'm going to turn the ship so that it is moving with the mist. And then I'll put it up here. I forgot to add a grid. I'm going to add a grid so I can... and I'm going to make the grid black so it's easier to see. I just want to make sure the ship is actually lined up on my grid. It looks... where is... I think right there. That looks right. Most of the squares are not like half squares. Okay, so now we've got that ship where we want it. I think we'll move the other ship. And this one, I think I'm going to turn it back the way it was. Come on. Doesn't want to turn. There we go. And again, I'm going to make sure it's already on the grid, but I'm going to move it up. Does that look right? No, that looks better. Okay. It wasn't on the grid. Okay. But now it's like attacking this way, and that doesn't make sense with the way its sails are. So I gotta undo that because I want this to look like pretty realistic. So I have to move this other ship down here. And once again, I want to get it, there we go, on the grid. And then this one, we're going to turn it around. Okay, now. And then right there. Okay, so now you can see that if the wind was blowing this way, but with their sail turned the way it would push them forward this way. Whereas our ship down here, it's not on the map all the way. I moved it too far off. There we go. It's being pushed straight on, although the tiller's making them turn a little bit. And this one, the tillers, they're kind of forcing themselves. That works actually quite well. And there's probably a bunch of you out there that are like, I don't sail. I don't know what the heck he's talking about. But that's okay. So we've got mists and we've got waves. And now I'm looking at the waves and I think they're going a little nutty. So I'm going to turn the intensity down to 10. That looks a little bit better. Just a little activity. And then if you want to add another FX layer, something a little different, you totally can. Maybe this ship battle is happening in the north and it's actually snowing while this is happening. You can add a snow layer. If you wanted to add rain, you could. And all of the rain ones, it comes set. You do need to go through and set these because they're set at like I think an average. If you want it to be really stormy, definitely turn that intensity all the way up to 100. Um, you can slow down the speed though, and this one you can actually change the direction quite a bit of the rain. So like if you do anywhere above 50 and it's going to slant to the right, anywhere below 50 and it slants to the left. So if I go this way, yeah, it's coming down this way. And there is lightning, and the lightning will interact with the mist, and it kind of lights up the mist. I do like the way this looks. Does look cool with the rain, the rain going on. But you don't have to have rain. You can add clouds. You can always adjust the time of day. Instead of doing rain, we could do time of day and adjust it to. That's like way dark. This is supposed to be. I think this is actually. It's always hard to tell. The colors change so much, but I think this is supposed to be like early day. Then this is like afternoon in the middle here, and then you get into varying degrees of nighttime. Um, if you've never used these, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this layer though, because I think it looks just fine with just the mist and the waves. But it gives you a whole bunch of things you can do, and if you decide you want to, you can add line of sight to these maps. I decided for my encounter that I made that map for, I didn't want line of sight because really the only line of sight things that you really would want to do is maybe do like some walls for the masts. Like you can't see through the masts, so you do like a wall like this, and the one like that, and then up here. And I'll show you why I didn't do that. Because I do like line of sight in Unity. I think it's really cool, but in this particular case, we need. Hold on. We need a character from the combat tracker to show you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on line of sight. And as you can see, with the line of sight, it just looks kind of... I'm trying to describe what I think it looks funky. I don't know. That, like, you can't see through the mast. Yeah, I get that you can't see through the mast, but if somebody's standing over here... I mean, it's nice to be like, oh, you couldn't see that target because, like, I mean, if he was standing right here, he can't see the other ship, I guess. Fine. But 99% of the time that's not going to be an issue in an encounter like this for this. So I don't like using the line of sight for these maps, this kind of thing, for an open sea battle type thing. Now, if they were underneath the ship, if I built a whole other layer and I built like the lower decks, that might be a different issue or a different thing, but yeah, I think it looks cooler. Oops, just moved my whole window. Didn't mean to do that. I think it looks cooler like this. And this particular encounter I think is going to be really cool because of this. Because what I did, and also in case anyone's wondering, on the clouds, let me go to my cloud layer on this one. I actually turned the clouds way down, but the shadows of the clouds way up, which makes it look dark and stormy. That's what these these areas of black that are slowly moving across the screen. That's the dark clouds. Whereas, and in fact, I could even turn the clouds completely off to 0, and then all you get is the smoky black clouds above, and it gives you that effect. But that is how you make a active map in Unity, and you can do this with all sorts of kinds of maps. I will show you very quickly. I'll close this one. I will show you another map that I did. This one, the line of sight is on, and let me remove that pointer. And we'll move a character over here onto the map so you can see the line of sight and everything. And let me move everything so it's uses the whole screen here. So this is an arena that is filled with like a stream of lava, and if you notice, if I move in close enough, you'll notice the lava is actually moving around, but the ground isn't. And the way you do that is in your FX settings. I used a water area, and I added a mask. So the mask is already enabled, and then what I did was I went through, and you can hide and reveal, and if you hold Alt, it will let you reveal or change that that area. I don't really want to do anything, but I guess I will. I'm going to go ahead and... So if I click on reveal area and then I hold Alt, and I'll start over here, and I just added, and now you can see the rocks are like moving as well. Didn't really want to do that, so what I'm going to do is click on hide area, and now I'm going to try and get all of that undone that I just did. I think that's probably good. Yeah, because I might reuse this map. I've already used it once with my players, but I might use it again in the future. So I want to save the effect that's going on there. And there, I added, as you can see in this map, I added a bunch of mist. I did use the time of day a little bit, and there's also clouds, and all together that adds kind of to like a smoky effect, as if there's steam and smoke coming up out of this like lava field. But that is that map, to give you an idea how you can use the mask and the areas of a mask to just so that your FX layers only affect a certain area. But I hope this map making video has given you some cool ideas to do some interesting things in Unity with your maps. And just so you know, if you ever make a map in Unity that you want to share with somebody else in Unity, you can extract, or you can make a module that is export using the library and the export button, and you can make a module with that map, and any of the effects or line of sight that you've added to that map will export with your module. So you can actually share a map with somebody else that you make, which is really nice. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you out there in the fantasy grounds.